Yo, what's goody? It's Bear in the building. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Kueen Talk. If you are new here, welcome. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this episode. You guys, today we have one who is a photographer, filmmaker, and food blogger and creator behind Taste the Screen, Shauntoray. Please welcome Shauntoray. Thank you for being a guest on Kueen
Hello.
Talk. How you doing
Thanks for,
today?
oh, I'm doing pretty swell. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's good to have you on here. I love your food blogs. You know, I'm a follower of it. I met you at a Beers event, and I instantly started following you. And so, when did you start becoming a food blogger and creator of that?
Okay, so it kind of happened by accident. So
Okay,
I was actually in a coffee shop. I was editing some other photos and I had ordered a sandwich and I took a picture of the sandwich, thought the picture looked really cool. I started doing a ton of research on food photography and it just kind of blossomed from there. But it really kicked off during the pandemic. I was
okay.
cooking at home a lot and I was just kind of documenting everything that I was cooking. So a lot of that really helped kind of get everything started.
That's cool. So you were already into photography before you became into just like the food specifically.
Yeah, I've been into photography since I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was on newspaper in high school and got to take a couple pictures for it, and then it just kind of progressed from there.
Awesome. What kind of things got did you do after high school? You were in photography in high school. Like, how did that progress? Like after you got out of high school?
So it was after my first year of college, actually. I was about 18 years old and I worked on my first film set. I got
Okay,
to be a production assistant during that time. And that just kind of got me really not just interested, but just like wanted me to gain more knowledge about filmmaking, about photography. So doing that kind of helped a lot as well.
how did you get connected to that first gig?
I think I answered an ad on Craigslist
Really?
back when you could still like put ads on Craigslist. So I'm also kind of aging myself a little bit too. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I answered an ad on Craigslist. I thought it sounded really, really cool. And I showed up and they told me what to do. And from there, it just really kind of started, not an obsession, but a
Mhm.
big passion.
That's so awesome. Around what year was that?
That would have to have been 2011, around
Okay,
2011.
so you're seasoned. You're seasoned with
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, like a good piece of chicken, I'm seasoned.
I love that. I love that. Like a good piece of chicken. Hey, so this started because you took a picture of a sandwich and then you became a blogger. You have a pretty good following too. So did you just start getting into like social media like as it came? Have you always been like into the social media world or like how are you navigating that?
Well, I was part of the whole like social media boom where Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff was coming out or being really popular. So, I kind of just, grew along with social media, but it wasn't until I started like really taking pictures that I really kind of dove in and wanted to kind of see exactly what goes into creating, a good platform.
What year was it when you started doing the food specifically? You said 2011 is when you got started, but when did you transfer over to the food specifically?
Uh, got really into the food specifically right around 2018. Was
Okay.
about that time that I really started getting into food.
That's that's so how do you feel about like everybody doing food blogs now? Do you feel like you're still in a lane to where like you're able to succeed obviously because you're still in it, but like how do you navigate like the multiple people that are now becoming food bloggers?
I think it's great that more people are becoming food bloggers because people may think, there's too many bloggers, it's oversaturated. Everyone's got different tastes. everybody tastes something differently. And I'd rather read, 10 blogs about the same dish, and every blog is going to be different.
Yeah.
So, even if, you don't think that you have the skill or that you have a big following, it doesn't really matter because you're literally just describing how something tasted to you.
Right.
And you never know because someone could read it and say, it tasted like that to me as well. I
Mm.
should follow this person because they're kind of like me. So I always say, if you want to start doing something, the first step is to just doing it. So I encourage everyone to be, a food blogger. Everyone's got a blogger inside them.
Yeah, I feel like everybody critiques food low key already. Like when you're out at a restaurant,
Yeah.
you critique it already. And I agree with that though, like with it not being too many because like there's so many just like convenience stores or gas stations or just pizza. There's so many different brands of like pizza that you can like get. And you're right about just like taste buds. People's taste buds are completely different. And I love the title. Like, I love that your name is Taste the Screen. I feel like that's so clever. And I don't know, like, was it Taste the Crave? Like, before I seen somewhere where it said Taste the Crave. Like, did you start with that and then, like, you were like, oh, I need to change it? Or where'd you come up with the name Taste the Screen?
Okay. So I went through like a bit of a cycle when it came to names. um, I landed on Taste the Screen because I was hanging out with my mom one night and I was starting to tell her, more about me, shooting food and everything. And she was like, "Oh, do you have a name?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then she just kind of asked me questions, like when someone sees sees a picture that you've done, what is the first thing you want them to think of? And I'm like, well, I want them to think that it looks good for one, that, that they look at it and they can just taste it without even eating it. And then I went home and just started like thinking about that, like taste, taste, taste. Like I want people to get hungry when they see my food. So I'm like, I want them to taste the screen, And then I just kind of ran with it from there. So Taste the Screen came before Taste the Crave. Taste the Crave is something I started last summer, which is a blog series of mine where I focus on different types of foods. Like I did a whole month where I ate nothing but wings
Okay.
and I rated and, scored the wings and everything. So yeah, Taste the Screen came before Taste the Crave.
All right, I love that. I love that name. It is because it does like when you're watching it, it does make you hungry, like literally in the
Yeah.
name. So that's pretty clever. Shout out to mom for helping you brainstorm with that. So I didn't really get a proper introduction of like you were from Wichita. We met in Wichita. Are you from Wichita, Kansas? Born and raised.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Born and raised here.
All right. Where'd you go? What school did you go to?
I went to Southeast for high school,
Okay.
and then I went to WSU for a year for college. Yeah, so I've always been very local centered.
Did you get your degree in photography at all, or it just happened to
No,
be?
so I was already kind of doing what I was going to school for, and rather than waste their time and my time, I'm like, I don't think I need to be here. But stay in school, school's cool. Just wasn't cool for me. Well, I guess the only thing is I was a part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters program growing up, and the big sister I got paired with, she and her sister, they were both heavily involved in musical theater and performing arts and stuff like that. And so they played a big part into me getting into creatives. I probably wouldn't have even started doing photography if it weren't for her and her family. So I always support programs like that because it definitely opened me up to a world I didn't realize I could be a part of. Because you don't see a lot of people who look like me doing film, doing photography, or special things like that. So it's like if I don't see the representation, then I will just be the representation myself. I don't know who sees me. I don't know who follows me or anything, but maybe that same little kid that I was will stumble upon me and say, I think I can do that.
I think representation does matter. Like here on Queen Talk, like that is something that is very important. And I think a shout out to Big Brothers Big Sisters because that is a great program for people to get a glimpse of something different. So yeah, I think that is important. So thank you for that. Yeah, so do you pursue Taste of Scream full time? I've seen you like being a vendor and stuff like that. Like, is this what you do full time?
It is not. Someday I wish it could be. Right now it's just something I do on the side, but if you put in the dedication and you put in the work, who knows, where I'll be in a year or two from now.
Right, and you don't just do the food, like you do photography as well, and I guess like you're a filmmaker too. So if someone wanted to reach out and have you do like photography work for them, you do that as well, right?
Yeah, I do engagements, I do family shoots, I can do, weddings. I've done a couple weddings. Yeah, I can pretty much adapt to, any scenario you may need. Yeah, I don't just do food. Photography all around is a big passion of mine. I never just want to, stick to one, type of photography. I want to do as much of it as I can. Yeah.
Right. And when it comes to like the film stuff, do you have like a partnership with someone like is with Eddie or are you just Eddie Toyota or do you just have some do some work for with them and happen to do some videos and stuff?
I actually worked for them for a brief time and did a few projects with them, so that was pretty fun. But I don't have like any solid partnerships. I'm pretty freelance when it comes to any work I do. So I'm not bound by contract with anybody. So I'm
Nice.
open and free to work with anyone that I choose.
Love that. Love that. I seen sometimes on your post it says a comped post too. So you're like working it up there though, you know? We getting somewhere.
Yeah, honestly, I never, go somewhere expecting something getting comped. That never really sat right with me how some creators only wait for the invitations to go somewhere. I'll just go somewhere and, I'll take my pictures and I'm not very, conspicuous with it because I always bring my big camera with me when I go somewhere new and they'll see me take pictures and they'll ask their probing questions and then that's when they're like, oh, well, we'll take care of it for you. But sometimes I do get invited out to, different restaurants or establishments and they'll, comp the experience for me. But I always write, my true feeling about something. So whether it's getting comped or not, I'm always going to tell the truth about my experience.
That's good because I don't feel like a lot of these food bloggers are honest about some food. Because I see some places that they go, and I've been there, and I'm like, but you're right. If I was, not everybody has the same taste buds, like you said earlier, though. Because I'm like, yeah, that's not that good. That place is not that good. So it is good that you give honest opinions regardless. And I feel like you just gave a little game right there if anyone wasn't paying attention. That like you don't have to go in there expecting to get it comped, but like when someone sees that you're in there being a professional and recording, like they know I could get this advertised, you're likely to get it comped. So I like that route that you take. What do you do it? Have you collabed with anybody else or like when it comes to that, we have a few of those in Wichita. Have you done any collaborations?
No official collaborations. The one brand that I tend to work with the most would be a local tortilla company called Pinole Blue. I've done some of their product photography. I've done some of their headshots for more corporate looks. So they're kind of like the main brand that has been consistent with coming back to me for more services. So I'd say Pinole Blue has been probably one of my big partnerships that I've had.
That's dope. When it comes to food blogging and stuff specifically, do you feel like you see representation that looks like us, like black women in the world, or what have you seen like as creators? Like you're probably more in there and you see it. It's on your For You page probably more than mine.
Yeah, so as a creator, sometimes I will go to certain events and I'm the only person who looks like me in the room. I tend to not let that, become a factor to me. I just go in, do my job, do the review and then, go home. But anytime I am the only person, in the room that looks like me, you know, I don't hide in the shadows. I go around, introduce myself, and talk and make my presence known and everything. But I do wish, I saw, and maybe it's just, I just don't see because not everybody goes to everything. So maybe there are other creators who look like me, but they just haven't gotten their chance to really put themselves out there yet. And, to anyone who has been wanting to start, all you got to do is just take your phone out, take a picture of your burger or your sandwich or whatever you're eating, and just make a post about it. And doesn't matter if people disagree with you and say, well, it's not that good. That is just your opinion.
Right.
So, if you kind of do it in the shadows, it's okay to do it in broad daylight.
Yeah, I agree. Like people overthink things, and it's just like if you just do it and just start with where you're at, it's gonna be okay. Like I feel like you just have to take that step, take that leap to be able to get it done though. Or you just always what if, or I wish. And I think I asked that because I personally don't see, like when I'm on my For You page and just like I see food bloggers come up, I don't see people that look like us on there. So I think also just like giving that representation that you're giving for like other people to be out here and be seen, like I think that's important. Here on Queen Talk, like that to me is like what is important of getting that representation out there. And so like being seen, I think is very important. So I appreciate you being seen. And it is hard to be in those rooms at time and be the only one. Like I know like how hard it is. It's very awkward at times, but it's like someone has to do it. Someone has to be in the room and constantly making room for others. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what you're doing. When it comes to like your sexuality, you did say you're bisexual, right?
Yes.
When did you say like no, like you're part of the community?
Well, I would say that I knew it was part, like looking back, I'd say that I was I was aware of it when I was very, very, very young. I just didn't know a name for it. And so it wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I finally found, a name for it and felt comfortable, with that name and could finally feel free enough to be, who I am. So, yeah, I've known from a very young age that I was different, but I just couldn't put my finger on like a name or, a true description of it. And also deep down, I thought everybody felt the same way I did. So when I found out that wasn't true, that was a bit of a shock.
So did you express yourself like when you knew, or not until you said when you were 20, that's when like you found a name for it? Is that when you expressed yourself, or was it before then?
Yeah, it was around then. Up until that point, I'd always been very tolerant and loving towards everybody, or if they were different than me or whichever. And so it wasn't until I'd say I was even in my not late 30s, but my late 20s that I actually like started going to Pride and, participating in queer events and going to queer events and just feeling comfortable, being around people who were in ways, similar to me.
Hmm. Yeah, and what was your first Pride like? Like, what was that experience for you?
So my first Pride was actually an event that I was working. So I was working with Google and I was just running around doing everything that I was needing to do. And so I didn't get a chance to really enjoy it, but just from like the sights I was seeing and what I was hearing, I just knew that it was a very safe environment for me. I knew it would be a very, welcoming environment for me. And, it was really cool to see everyone expressing, who they are and loving who they want to love and just being surrounded by, their families, whether it is blood family or chosen family. And, that was something that I knew that I wanted to be a part of.
What state were you in?
I was here in Kansas. It was for Wichita Pride. This was years, many, many, many years ago.
Google was just like a table or a sponsor there?
They were filming some sort of event, some sort of video project they were doing with prides around the United States. And so I was just on crew to help them for that.
Oh, interesting. They were all on board now. They ain't doing that this year. They ain't doing that this year. It was not. It was not out there. That's interesting, though. That was that just like another Craigslist ad that Google put out there trying to find some talent, or like were you working for Google or?
I think it was a Craigslist thing. Before Craigslist became, creepy, it was actually pretty useful for stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And when you like express yourself like in your early 20s, like did you come to your family and was that a conversation that you had with them?
So it was kind of like a conversation I had with different family members over time. Like the first family member that I really talked to was my sister, and she pretty much said that she figured that, I was queer, but she didn't know, exactly. But, she was very happy that I felt comfortable to come to her.
Yeah, that's
And then I think like 6 months after that, I told my grandmother, and she was very loving and open about it. And
good.
then probably a year not even a year, but 7 months after that, I then told my mom. And she also said that she kind of figured but didn't know. So everybody knew but me, and she was very loving and open about it. So I was
Good.
very fortunate to have the more positive reaction. I know not everybody, gets that or
But
has
that's what we
had that.
want for everybody. But this is what we
Yeah.
want for everybody. I love that. I love that. I'm so glad that this was your experience. I think people need to hear these stories to know like also like it could be their reality too. And just like if you said something, it might not be as bad as you think it's gonna be. You said you waited till your mom last, like to tell your mom last. Did you feel like nervous to tell her or why was that?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt really nervous to tell her because, when I was growing up, we went to church 2, 3 times a week. So just growing up with that, I just had that fear in the back of my head, if this goes wrong, what are we doing, And so when I told her, I just kind of had in the back of my head, okay, this is what we're going to do. And she starts swinging, but she didn't. She hugged me and told me that she loved me. She was only upset that she was the last one to know, but yeah, she definitely surprised me. But in a way, my mom was always presented as a loving person. So I was very happy with the result of telling her.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned growing up, you guys went to church. I just like I can't wait till we get to a point to where like it's not looked at like we can't be part of the church and we can't have faith and stuff too. Like I just it just doesn't make sense to me. I go to church online right now to amazing church. Like I love Pastor Mike Jr. I love my church, Rock City. Shout it out. For you, has that deterred you? Now, do you still go to church? Like, what is your faith like?
So for a while, my faith was very rocky. Um, because you grow up hearing that you're wrong, you're this, you're that, you're the other, and it does something to you. So I kind of had a moment to myself where if this is what this is how you feel. People aren't Not everyone's gonna love you, not everyone's gonna like you, but it's important to to keep the love that you feel inside you, to keep that going, and that's going to help you go and and just be able to live. So I still have my faith. I'm not currently going to church right now, because that's still something that I'm working through, but my faith is still there, and that love is still there, I feel.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I was the same way. Like it took me a while. This is recent, within like the last few years, that I've been going online to this church, and it is online just because I still have some doubts too, to just like go in person, and I'm still like waiting. Like Pastor Mark Jr., the mission is love God, love people, and make a difference. So it's like that's the motto of the church. And so far, the past few years that I've been watching, that is what he preaches. So, but there before, like finding this church, I was the same way. Like growing up, you go to church and they tell you this way, and even recently, like earlier earlier this year, if it was earlier this year or like the end of last year, I go to church with my grandma, and a situation happened to where like he's talking about homosexuality being a sin and stuff like that, and I'm just like, I feel like my grandma has set me up, but I never even had like, I need to have a conversation with her and like ask her like, did you know like this is a, because after that happened, she was like, yeah, he had talked about it for 3 weeks in a row, so maybe she thought, okay, this week he won't talk about it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But it's just like, even still now, I still feel away like when I go, just because I'm like, man, I don't want you to see me and then think, oh, I need to have this as a sermon. Like I don't like, I'm just trying to get closer to God, hear the message, and go about my way. But it does deter a lot of us in the community away, because it's like you're trying to get us further away from God instead of bringing us closer. The logic ain't, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I'm glad your family did not put faith against you. Like that's an amazing story to have.
Oh yeah.
A relationship.
I am.
Okay, are you in like a, what's your partner? Is a male, female?
Female.
Okay, okay, okay. How long have you guys been together?
7 months.
All right, fresh, fresh. How's that going for you?
It's going really well. Every experience is still new, at this point, just learning, still learning about each other's likes, dislikes, triggers, everything like that. So, yeah, I'd say it's going very well. And I just love learning something new about my partner, every time we see each other. So,
You guys aren't
it's
you
been great.
hauling it, are you? Like it's still.
Oh no, I'm not I still like my space. I still very much like having my own space, so there will be no U-hauling in the future.
That's good. That's good. That's the stereotype. That's not true for everybody. It's not true. I'm one that'll call her someone that I'm dating my friend for like the first probably like 2 years, and I'm like, okay, we're not friends anymore. We're actually official. But that's cool. Is like, when it comes to your dating, have you like gone lately dated women, like gone dates on men?
I'd say up until, last year, I was just kind of chilled out on dating, just had way too many of the bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
So when I decided to start dating again, I'm just like, I'm just going to focus on one group and just see what happens. And as a bisexual, people always ask, well, who do you prefer? And it's like, I prefer to date the person I have the most in common with, or the person that I vibe the most with. So it's not a matter of like who I prefer, or how, like, have you been dating mainly women? Have you been dating mainly men? It's just, I have just been mainly dating people that, I could see, going further with, or, we have the same sense of humor, or we have the same likes, or we have the same interests. So that's who I gear towards more.
Do you get that stigma when you're in the dating, like, when you're like trying to make connections, like, oh, I don't really want to do that because you like females?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I've been fortunate not to get, the stigma, thrown at
good.
me. Yeah. And, I can't say that about, other people's experience. Because for some people, they just can't catch a break. And I think that's just really sad. Because, if you only limit yourself to only, people who have only been with these people, and stuff like that, then you could be missing out on someone who could be really good for you. But
Yeah.
if you're going to be that shallow, then, it's kind of good for them that you're passing them over, because, that could be a really good person that you're putting through the ringer for no reason.
Yeah, I do think that bisexuals have a hard time in relationships, like navigating that stigma and that stereotype at times. And I ain't gonna lie, like I used to be one of those people that were like, so which one do you like more? Da da da. But I'm with someone who like, okay, I actually get it now to where it's like, okay, when you're feeling someone, it doesn't matter like about anybody else. Like you're with this one person. So I finally get it now.
We love growth.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Always trying to grow for sure. And I think like it's important to like I'm sure someone that's like listening or watching to this podcast, they're still thinking that way. I think it's important for like people to hear these stories so like they can get a better understanding like it's not a one size fits all
Yeah.
with situations too. When it comes to like the Wichita queer scene for you, I seen you at Queer Beers. Is that like, do you connect with trying to find organizations like that to find the community, or what other ways do you do that?
Well, I just kind of take, different things that I like and I try to find something in the community that, that fills that space. Like, I've always been a fan of beers and I've always been a fan of going to breweries. So when Queer Beers first came about, I was pretty excited that, oh, there's a group that goes out and they try, different breweries and they hang out and they're queer. Like, that seems up my alley. So I was very lucky to have found, that particular group here in town. And I just feel like, it's finding your interests and then another piece about you coming together just seems so right. So I was very lucky to have found that.
How long have you been connecting with that group?
Since they started like 2 or 3 years ago.
Awesome. Awesome. That is so. I do love like the connecting of queers and giving that space, safe space, especially during times like this. Like, it is important for those spaces to be created. So, shout out to
Yeah.
Dara.
And yeah, oh yeah, big time. Up until, I started going to queer beer events, I didn't really have any queer friends. I have, friends who are allies, but I had no queer presenting friends that I can just go and talk to or go and hang out with. And, thanks to queer beers, I was able to develop many, friendships, with different people. And that's just been, the big win for me, um, is being able to, connect to people while enjoying the beer, while being in an environment that, is very supportive of me. It's very cool.
I agree. It's a different feeling when you're around people that you identify with. Like we identify the same. We navigate this world. Like you get a little glimpse of how I navigate this world. So
Oh yeah.
I agree 100%. I think, like I said before, it's really dope what Queer Bears is doing. What other ways do you find friendships though? Like as an adult, not even just like as a queer person, just like as an adult, I feel like I was just talking to my partner recently, and just like my friend group, I feel like it's changing, and so like you're trying to build different friend groups. How do you find friends as an adult?
How do you find friends as an adult? Sometimes you just stumble upon it. And
Yeah,
it's so, like even when you're not necessarily looking for it or when you feel like you don't need it is when you're going to find it.
yeah,
I went to a brewery here in Wichita and they had trivia nights. And I just went on a trivia night and I saw another, group of people that I had met at an event. And we started talking and then we started going to trivia together. And then they started inviting a few more of their friends. And so now it's just like this, standing appointment that we have with each other on Tuesdays is when we're all going to meet up and we're all going to play trivia. And,
love that.
it's amazing because we're all, very much adults. We all have our own lives going on. But we set aside this time just to meet up and talk, play a game, and have fun. And,
Yes.
like I said, you know, I stumbled upon it, didn't intend on it. But you'll find the friendships you're supposed to make at the time that you're supposed to find them.
I agree. I agree. You can't force friendships either. I don't trust people, so it's like besides
Yeah.
going to work most of my day,
Yeah.
the club scene isn't it anymore. So maybe like a trivia, like you said. I'm trying to
Yeah.
also go to bingo. Have you been to bingo?
I haven't been to bingo yet because I'm not like a club person. I mean, I'll go if it's someone's birthday, but I'm not going to be like, hey, it's Tuesday or hey, it's Monday. Let's go to the club. Like, no.
Yeah, but bingo, I want to go to bingo. Bingo is like an everyday thing, and it's there's one like down the street from my house, and I need to just go because people say you can win a lot of money. Like it's like a different,
Yeah, I've heard that you can win a good chunk of change at bingo, and people take it very seriously.
very seriously.
Like there are people that's like their standing appointment on Sunday is they're gonna go and play bingo. They're gonna drink, their $3 cocktail, and they're gonna have a great time.
I
And I love that.
yes, I need to just do a bingo date like that. Just I need to make it happen because I'm always like, I want to go play some bingo randomly, but I just like never go in there. I picture it just like being like an old smoky place. I haven't even been into one like in years, so like I don't even know what
Yeah.
like the scene looks like. But I'm just
It's
picturing
probably
is
like the coolest thing you've ever seen, but you wouldn't know because you're like, oh, it's gonna be grimy in there.
yeah. But I'm at the age to where bingo is like it's like the go to spot where it'd be like, okay, we can win some money and have a few drinks and a good time. But and I also see like here in town, there's like I don't know, it's called Loco Bingo or what it is, but it's just like a
Bingo Loco.
okay Bingo Loco. So I was like, that would be lit to go to too. Like
Yeah, the clips I've seen like on TikTok, it looks like a rave and a bingo hall. And it's like they got booked on the same night. And it's like, well, we're just gonna have to coexist.
yes, it's like this is where we gotta find friends these days. It's just like at the bingo hall. The bingo hall, the
Yeah.
trivia.
Like you could probably find your best friend at a bingo hall.
I believe it. I believe it because I feel like bingo is an age for everybody. Loki,
Yeah.
it is an age for everybody. So you never know. Next time I'm gonna vlog when I'm at the bingo. When I go to the bingo spot, Kueen Talk, yes, you guys hear this audience. I'm gonna vlog it, and you're gonna see a vlog of me going to bingo. Shauntoray, what advice would you have for someone who may be getting into like blogging or maybe wanting to do like photography work or film work?
As cliche as it may sound, it's probably the most useful advice, which is just start doing it. If you have a professional camera or if you don't have a professional camera, just take out your phone and take a picture and, don't do it to, please someone else's standards or to please someone else. Do it to please yourself. Um, if you see something and you're like, I want someone to see what I see, just capture it and run with it. You're never going to get anywhere if you keep saying, well, I'll wait until I have a better this, or I'll wait until I have this many followers. Next week is always going to be next week. So if you see something that you want to try or you see something that you really, really want to do, just do it. And if you have no support, you'll always have the support of yourself. So you'll never be unsupported as long as you have the support of yourself. So
As long as you have the support of yourself, that clip it, clip it. I love that because people do get discouraged when other people don't support, but you got to be your biggest fan. You really do have to
yeah.
be your biggest fan. I think that's an important message to give the audience today is just get out there, take that leap. And it could just be a coincidence. You literally started the food blogging because you took a picture of a sandwich. You're like, this is cool. Like, let me run with this. So it's like, you never know. Just like if you try different things, you might get into something, but you won't know unless you try. So I think that's an important message of just just do it. Just try it. It is cliche, but it's honest. And like it's okay. Like if you try and it doesn't happen like later, it's okay. Like you
Yeah.
I feel like that's another thing is people to get caught up is like, okay, if I start and I don't continue, like I'm a failure. No, it was just a lesson learned. Like you tried something, you
Yeah, or if
learn.
they don't get the amount of likes that they want or, anything like that, like you got to stop looking at the likes and you got to stop looking at the views. And if you are pleased with it, post it. And if nobody likes it, like I said, you're your first supporter. So support your own stuff. If you don't, no one else is gonna.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much, Shauntoray, for giving the game on here at Kueen Talk today and just being a guest. I thank you for just telling your story. I feel like it's important for, like you said earlier, to like make these connections. I came up to you like when we were out there, I seen you, and you just never know what connections that can be made when you go up and you have that conversation, especially when you rarely see other people that look like you in the room. So it's important for us to like talk and to connect with each other. So thank you so much for connecting with me and being a guest on Kueen Talk. I really do appreciate it. You guys, let me know what you think of this episode. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And make sure you check out queentalk.com. Queentalks.com. You guys can check out some merch, check out other guests that have been on here, all the other amazing episodes that we have had thus far. And as always, family, friends, strangers, love and be nice.